Namaskar dosto, I have for you today a book titled Glimpses of Bengal. This book contains a selection of letters from the archives of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore between 1885 to 1895, and they are very interesting letters. This compilation of letters is published by Pothi.com. Tagore lived between 1861 to 1941, and around these times there weren't too many modes of communication barring letter writing and of course word of mouth. But before I take you through the letter, let me also tell you something about Gurudev's introduction that he has given for these letters. The letters translated in this book span the most productive period of my literary life, he says, when owing to a great good fortune I was young and less known. Youth being exuberant and leisure ample, I felt the writing of letters, other than business ones, to be a delightful necessity. This is a form of literary extravaganza only possible when a surplus of thought and emotion accumulates. Other forms of literature remains the author's and are made public for his good. Letters that have been given to private individuals once for all are therefore characterized by the more generous abandonment. It so happened that selected extracts from a large number of such letters found their way back to me years after they had been written. It had been rightly conjectured that they would delight me by bringing to my mind the memory of the days when, under the shelter of obscurity, I enjoyed the greatest freedom of my life that my life has ever known. Since these letters synchronize with a considerable part of my published writings, I thought their parallel course would broaden my readers' understanding of my poems as a track is widening by retreading the same ground. Such was my justification for publishing them in a book for my countrymen, hoping that descriptions of village scenes in Bengal contained in these letters would also be of interest to English readers. The translation of a selection of that selection has been entrusted to one who among all those whom I know was best fitted to carry it out. And this paragraph that I spoke just now is from Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore that he wrote on 20th June 1920. So friends, these letters were earlier written in Bengali and later translated into English. And in this razzmatazz of life today, one rarely gets a time for solitude when one is immersed in one's own thoughts, looking out of the window when it's drizzling. These letters of Tagore give you that feel. It surrounds you with the simplicity of life. So now let me take you through this serene piece of letter or literature titled Shahzadpur. It was written sometime in February 1892 by Gurudev. It describes the Gypsy tribe. So we all know about Gypsy. Gypsy is a tribe. So here we go. Just in front of my window, on the other side of the stream, a band of gypsies have ensconced themselves, putting up bamboo frameworks covered over with split bamboo mats and pieces of cloth. There are only 3 of these little structures, so low that you cannot stand upright inside. Their life is lived in the open, and they only creep under these shelters at night to sleep huddled together. That is always the gypsies' way. No home anywhere, no landlord to pay rent to, wandering about as it pleases them with their children, their pigs, and a dog or two, and on them the police keep a vigilant eye. I frequently watch the doings of the family nearest me. They are dark but good looking, with fine, strongly built bodies like Northwest country folk. Their women are handsome and have tall, slim, well knit figures, and with their free and easy movements and natural independent airs, they look to me swarthy or dark English women. The man has just put the cooking pot on the fire and is now splitting bamboos and weaving baskets. The woman first holds up a little mirror to her face, then puts a deal of paints into wiping and rubbing it over and over again with a moist piece of cloth, and then the folds of her upper garment adjusted and tidied. She goes all spick and span up to her man and sits beside him, helping him now and then in his work. These are truly children of soil, born on it somewhere, bred by the wayside here, there, and everywhere, dying anywhere. Night and day under the open sky, in the open air, on the bare ground, they lead a unique kind of life and yet work, love children, and household duties. Everything is there. They are not idle for a moment but always doing something. When her own particular task is over, one woman plumps herself down behind another, unties the knot of her hair and cleans and arranges it for her. And whether at the same time they fail to talking over the domestic affairs of the three little mat-covered households, I cannot say for certain from a distance, but shrewdly suspect it. This morning, a great disturbance invaded the peaceful gypsy settlement. It was about 8:30 or 9. They were spreading out over the mat roofs, tattered quilts, and sundry other rags which served them for beds in order to sun and air them. The pigs, with their litters lying in a hollow, all of a heap and looking like a dab of mud, had been routed out by two canine members of the family, who fell upon them and sent them roaming in search of their breakfast, squealing their annoyance at being interrupted in enjoyment of the sun after the cold night. I was writing my letter and absently looking out now and then when the hubbub suddenly commenced. I rose and went to the window and found a crowd gathered around the gypsy hermitage. A superior looking personage was flourishing a stick and indulging in the strongest language. The headman of the gypsies, cowed and nervous, was apparently trying to offer explanations. I gathered that some suspicious happenings in the locality had led to this visitation by a police officer. The woman so far had remained sitting, busily scraping lengths of split bamboo as serenely as if she had been alone, and no sort of row going on. Suddenly, however, she sprang to her feet, advanced on the police officer, gesticulated violently, and with her arms right in his face, and gave him strident notes, a piece of her mind. In the twinkling of an eye, 3/4 of the officer's excitement had subsided. He tried to put in a word or two of mild protest, but did not get a chance, and so departed crestfallen, a different man. After he had retreated to a safe distance, he turned and shouted back, "All I say is, you'll have to clear out from here. तुमको ये जगह खाली करना पड़ेगा." I thought my neighbors opposite would forthwith pack up their mats and bamboos and move away with their bundles, pigs and children. But there is no sign of it yet. They are still nonchalantly engaged in splitting bamboos, cooking food, or completing a toilet. The letter ends. Tagore was a Nobel laureate in literature. He had great command over his language. He could do long paragraphs of say 60 words in one sentence with exactly what he wanted to communicate with proper pauses, which is not easy. Such writers are extremely few. His vocabulary too was very powerful. This book is an excellent collection of letters. It soothes you. An excellent read, therefore. So, friends, that's all I have for today. If you've liked my show, kindly share it. Also, press the red like icon. Also, subscribe our channel by pressing the red icon, and don't forget to press the bell so that you're notified each time we upload a video clip. And for now, goodbye and see you soon.